Atomic Habits for Relationship Resilience. How to navigate tough relationships and handle difficult people. We all want to strengthen our closest relationships and handle difficult people with more grace. But how? Relationships can be messy. Even our closest bonds go through rough patches. Difficult people and toxic dynamics strain our patience and leave us doubting real change is possible. But transformation begins with tiny steps. In this video, we'll explore how to harness the power of atomic habits to strengthen our most important relationships and handle challenging people with more grace. Based on the groundbreaking book by James Clear, we'll learn how small, consistent changes can remake our connections from the inside out. Like atoms, microscopic actions will compound into remarkable results over time. Are you ready to unlock the science of subtle shifts? Let's get started and witness the magic unfold through incremental improvements. The power is in your hands. First up, how the tiniest tweaks create the biggest change. Chapter 1. Tiny tweaks yield massive change. The magic of 1%. Imagine an inspiring tale of a woman named Nina. Each day, Nina improved just 1% through nearly invisible habits. On day 1, she read a single page of a book. By day 100, she was reading 70 pages a day. And by day 365, Nina read entire books every day, 367 pages on average. Tiny steps accumulated into radical change. The power of 1% growth compounded dramatically over time. This principle applies to habits and relationships. Focus on getting just 1% better every day with microscopic improvements, and your closest connections will ultimately transform. Maybe today you strengthen trust by opening up about a vulnerability. Or you convey affection by hugging your partner for 10 seconds longer than usual. These are atomic habits, subtle tweaks that pay huge dividends over time. Let's explore why. The biology of habits. Why are atomic habits so potent for change? They literally alter your neurology. The brain forms neural pathways for habits through repetition. Do something enough times and the pattern becomes automatic. Think of sledding down a snowy hill. The first run down is slow going, but after repeat trips, the snow packs into a fast, slick track. Your habits carve channels, making the desired actions easier over time. This means you can rewire your brain patterns toward more loving relationships. With small yet consistent efforts, patience, kindness, and communication become natural. You form the neural tracks that make compassion your default response. The 2-minute habit rule. When establishing a new habit, make it so easy you can't say no. Atomic Habits recommends the 2-minute rule. Any habit should take 2 minutes or less. This removes friction. For relationships, apply this rule to keep good habits simple. Some examples. Send a loving text. Hug for 20 seconds. Voice appreciation for something your partner did. Maintain eye contact while they speak. Jot a thank you note. The key is consistency. Do these 2-minute habits daily and watch even rocky relationships transform dramatically over time. Now let's explore the power of systems for sustained change. Chapter 2. Goals vs. Systems. The grand gesture. A husband was determined to make his 10-year anniversary unforgettable for his wife. He planned a lavish evening, a private dinner on a yacht followed by a hotel suite adorned with rose petals and candles. This would prove his lasting love, he believed. He spent extravagantly on these plans, but a week later his wife said she felt unhappy in the marriage. The magic of that one perfect evening soon faded. The husband was disappointed. Where did he go wrong? His mistake was relying on an occasional grand gesture rather than consistent habits. One flawless date couldn't overcome years of disconnect in their daily interactions. The key was developing systems, not goals. Goals versus systems. Goals focus on immediate results. Systems focus on the processes that drive lasting results. The husband's evening was a short-term goal, but his daily habits formed a system of poor communication and minimal quality time with his wife. To improve the marriage, he needed to alter the system. Goals have a place, but they often fail without supporting systems. Systems require discipline, yet sustain positive change week after week. In relationships, occasional grand romantic gestures are just goals, but small loving actions practiced routinely. That's a system for ongoing happiness. Creating relationship systems. To build relationship systems, use the habit scorecard from Atomic Habits. 1. Cues, reminders to do the habit. 2. Cravings, rewards for doing it. 3. Responses, overcoming obstacles. Let's demonstrate for the habit of a daily romantic call. Cues could include a phone alert labeled "Call Wife" or leaving a love note by the phone. Craving rewards might be seeing her smile or enjoying the connection. Responses for when you're busy could be delegating tasks to free up time. Review your scorecard frequently until calling becomes a natural system. Small steps really do create remarkable change. Next, let's discuss the power of identity shift for meaningful change. Chapter 3. Becoming your best self. Looking inward, a man felt constant frustration toward his girlfriend. She seemed argumentative, always finding fault with him. He viewed her as defensive and impossible to please. "You're so critical all the time," his girlfriend would say. "It's like you're incapable of empathy." The man denied this, yet he knew it was often true. One day, he asked himself, "Am I living up to my own values? Am I demonstrating compassion for her?" He realized he wasn't, so the man decided to fake it until he became it. He pretended to be his ideal self, understanding, patient, and caring, even though it felt difficult at first. But the more patient he acted, the more natural it became. His girlfriend began softening too. We become the masks we wear. Our identity shapes our actions. Becoming your best self. Your identity drives your behavior. When you see yourself as compassionate, acting compassionately is easier. If you believe you're loving, it's simpler to act lovingly. James Clear calls this becoming the person you wish to be. Are you already that person in your mind? If not, fake it. Go through the motions and your identity will shift. Relationships thrive when you align your identity with your aspirations. Commit to your values through small, consistent acts, and soon they will come naturally. Editing your story. The stories we tell about ourselves become our truth, because we act as if they're true. As author Morgan Housel says, "We aren't who we say we are. We are who we do." So edit your inner narrative. Trade "I'm bad at communicating" for "I'm becoming an amazing communicator." Repeat empowering stories and watch them manifest. In relationships, edit scripts that feed resentment or hopelessness. Craft a new story of healing and growth. With consistent effort, you make that vision a reality. Next, let's discuss how habit stacking drives synergistic transformation. Chapter 4. The Magic of Habit Stacking. A couple's miracle morning. A husband and wife's marriage suffered from frequent conflict about parenting. Both partners felt drained and disconnected. The husband read Atomic Habits and suggested a miracle morning ritual. Hugging for 10 seconds to connect. 5 minutes of meditation to reduce anxiety. Sharing 3 things they appreciate about each other. Coordinating parenting responsibilities. Exercising together to boost energy. At first, they had to force themselves through the motions, but soon it became an uplifting morning habit. They tackled the day as a team. Resentment dissipated. This worked because stacked habits reinforce each other. Now let's examine habit stacking. What is habit stacking? Habit stacking combines multiple habits into one routine by linking a new habit to an existing one. As James Clear explains, sequencing habits creates a positive chain reaction. Don't try to establish 5 new habits at once. That's a recipe for failure. Instead, anchor a new habit to a simple current one. For example, the couple linked meditation to their morning coffee routine. After pouring coffee, they meditated before drinking it. The habit became automatic through a consistent cue. Morning routines work well for stacking because they happen daily, but you can anchor habits anytime. After arriving home from work, before eating dinner, during your lunch break, after putting on pajamas. The key is consistency and timing. Attach your new habit to an existing one at the same time daily. The 3 types of stacks. The couple used all 3 types of habit stacks. 1. Chore stacks. Pair a new habit with a chore. X. Meditating after making coffee. 2. Reward stacks. Add a habit after something enjoyable. X. Exercising after a nice shower. 3. Future stacks. A habit that sets you up for later. X. Preparing kids' lunches the night before. Build your own miraculous morning. Stack habits for powerful change. Now let's examine how to transform bad habits into good ones. Chapter 5. Inverting problem patterns. A toxic relationship. A woman felt exhausted and controlled in her relationship. Her boyfriend constantly criticized her parenting, cleaning, even her appearance. She felt resentful and demoralized, doubting she could ever please him. The boyfriend also wished for change. He regretted his harshness yet seemed unable to stop this pattern. They felt trapped in dysfunction. Reading Atomic Habits sparked an idea for the woman. What if she focused on a tiny habit change? She decided to compliment her boyfriend's contributions daily. Taking out the trash, fixing things around the house. Though awkward at first, the habit shifted their dynamic. He became more helpful and her resentment faded. Let's explore why it worked. Inversion of problem patterns. You can overcome unhealthy patterns by inverting them, creating opposite habits. The woman focused on a positive habit that contradicted the criticism habit. Forcing herself to compliment inverted the negative loop. This principle of inversion applies to all relationships. Identify a destructive pattern, then invert it with a tiny opposite habit practiced consistently. Other examples: interrupting, active listening; contempt, expressing affection; defensiveness, curiosity. The new habit will feel unnatural until your neurology adapts. Stick with it. Inversion promotes radical change. Subtraction for addition. Sometimes you must subtract an unhealthy habit before adding a healthy one. For instance, you may need to reduce phone checking before you can truly listen to your partner. Limit the bad habit first. This act of subtraction clears space for the positive habit to grow. Prune the vines of toxicity so roses of love can bloom. Now let's learn how environment fuels transformation. Chapter 6. The Hidden Power of Context. A Couple's Decluttering. A married couple constantly argued. The husband thought his wife ignored him for her phone and friends. The wife believed her husband was lazy and irresponsible. Tension was high. On a weekend away, they stayed at a calm, tidy cabin. With no clutter or distractions, they naturally relaxed and connected. Back home, their tiny, cluttered apartment immediately sparked bickering again. Realizing this, the couple decluttered their home. With less visual chaos, they felt more peaceful. Having space to breathe and think enabled loving communication. Let's explore how our context impacts habits. The science of environment design. Your environment and context profoundly influence your behavior, as Atomic Habits explains. Physical surroundings act as behavior cues, sparking associated habits. A messy home filled with clutter primes the habit of stress. A tranquil, tidy space cues relaxation and connection. To change habits, shape your context. For relationships, create an environment that enables your best self. Make space for healthy habits to thrive. Declutter to invite peace and understanding. Your habits will transform along with your space. Leveraging commitment devices. Commitment devices limit options to empower healthy habits. For example, set parental controls on your phone to reduce aimless scrolling. In relationships, use commitment devices to disconnect from bad habits and connect with your partner. Delete social media apps sabotaging quality time. Turn off notifications during couple activities. Schedule weekly date nights and weekend getaways. Now let's master the habit of making relationships a daily priority. Chapter 7. The Power of Showing Up. A Reignited Relationship. A couple married for 20 years had grown apart. The husband pursued his career, golfing on weekends while his wife raised the kids. Their lives ran parallel with little quality time together. Seeking to reconnect, the husband made a habit of planning a weekly date night, even just watching a movie together after the kids slept. Being physically present and focused on each other reignited their bond. Showing up consistently, if only briefly, worked magic. Let's learn why. The compound effect of showing up. Atomic Habits emphasizes the power of simply showing up, even for just 2 minutes every single day. Habits compound over time. Tiny efforts lead to huge results. This applies powerfully to relationships. Regularly show up physically and mentally focused on your partner. No phones, chores, or distractions. The consistency matters more than the activity. The compound effect of showing up transforms your connection. Set a frequency. Along with showing up, establish a set frequency for your relationship habits. Consistency is key to results. For the couple, a weekly date night doubled their quality time. Other examples: daily 5-minute cuddle session after waking up. Bi-weekly romantic getaway. Monthly relationship check-in conversation. It doesn't matter how long the habit takes. Show up consistently, even briefly, and feel your bond strengthen exponentially. The power is in showing up day after day, year after year. Now let's master the habit of listening actively. Chapter 8. The Art of Deep Listening. Finally being heard. A woman constantly felt unheard by her partner. He interrupted frequently and seemed distracted. She doubted he cared about her feelings at all. The partner recognized this pattern. He wanted to connect, but struggled to listen attentively. So he committed to a new habit, looking into the woman's eyes and summarizing her statements before responding. Though difficult at first, active listening became natural. The woman felt truly heard for the first time. The increased understanding transformed their relationship. Let's break down how to listen on a whole new level. Listen with curiosity. Curious listening creates connection. Maintain eye contact and give your partner your full attention. Listen to understand, not just reply. Silence distractions and be fully present. Summarize their key points to confirm you understand. Thank them for sharing. Listeners should speak just 20% of the time. Make your partner feel heard and valued. This resolves conflicts quickly. The 5 levels of listening. Atomic Habits outlines 5 levels of listening. Strive for the deeper levels. 1. Ignoring. 2. Pretend listening. 3. Selective listening. 4. Active listening. 5. Empathetic listening. Active listening focuses on comprehending. Empathetic listening connects emotionally with their perspective. Master these levels for healthy communication. The habit of deeply listening builds powerful bonds. Finally, let's look at gratitude's transformative power. Chapter 9. The Unforeseen Power of Gratitude. From complaints to appreciation. A couple constantly bickered about housework. The wife felt her husband didn't help enough. The husband thought his wife's standards were too high. Minor issues escalated into major fights. The wife decided to shift the pattern. Whenever she felt irritated, she'd list 3 things she appreciated about her husband instead. This simple habit replaced complaints with expressions of gratitude. Focusing on her partner's positive qualities transformed the wife's mindset, and his as well. Petty arguments faded. Both partners felt happier. Now let's dig into the magic of gratitude. Gratitude changes your lens. Regular expressions of gratitude rewire how you perceive your partner. You begin noticing their efforts instead of frustrations. Gratitude boosts commitment in relationships, studies show. It builds an atmosphere of appreciation and goodwill. Practice expressing sincere gratitude for both big and small acts daily. Send thank you texts, compliments, and leave little love notes. Verbalize appreciation. This powerful habit strengthens bonds remarkably. Gratitude rituals. Make gratitude a consistent habit in your relationship through rituals like daily appreciation text upon waking up, weekly family gratitude dinner where each person shares, monthly handwritten gratitude letter. The consistency matters more than length. Small daily moments of gratitude compound into a deeply appreciative mindset. Gratitude for the win! Now go unleash the power of atomic habits! The smallest shifts create the biggest change. Like atoms, microscopic habits compound into incredible transformation in our relationships. Consistent tiny tweaks rewire our brains, rewrite our stories, and reshape our world over time. Each small act of love adds up exponentially. So believe in the power of 1%. Show up day after day focused on tiny improvements through atomic habits. A year from now, you'll be astonished at how amazing your relationships have become. The change begins now. Go hug someone you love for 20 seconds longer than usual. Send a gratitude text. Listen actively. Appreciate them. Repeat tomorrow and witness the magic unfold one micro habit at a time. You hold the power to reinvent your connections. Wield it wisely.